What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be discussing the tragic and heroic life of the current number 2 pro hero, Keigo Takami, better known as the wing hero, HAWKS. After the manga finally revealed the extremely dark truth about HAWKS' traumatic childhood and how he became the hero that he is today, I decided that I needed to dedicate a full video to this man. If you enjoyed the Boku no Hero videos on this channel and you want us to keep it going, you know what to do. Leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps a lot. And if you're new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you watch our videos but you still haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. Before we get into it, a quick thank you to TappyToon for sponsoring this video. TappyToon publishes the hottest Korean webcomics in English, French, and German. And they feature some worldwide famous titles like Solo Leveling, What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, and A Returner's Magic Should Be Special, and of course much more. They've got over 300 webtoons in many genres, including action, fantasy, comedy, and of course romance. New titles and new chapters are coming out every week, so you can binge them all and never miss a new release. As a big fan of shonen, Solo Leveling is a great read for me, and I'm sure that a ton of you would enjoy it as well if you haven't read it already. And the latest action titles that are getting a ton of hype are arriving to TappyToon, so check them out before everyone else. Don't miss out on the likes of Triple F Class Trash Hero or My 990,000 Past Lives Help Me. TappyToon works directly with the webcomic creators, so every time you use TappyToon, you are supporting the creators of your favorite series. Check out TappyToon right now, link in the description. Finally, this video will contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution, you have been warned. When we first meet HAWKS in the Boku no Hero story, he is only 22 years old and he is already the number 3 pro hero. HAWKS is the youngest hero to ever crack the top 10 list, and after All Might retires, HAWKS advances to the number 2 pro hero position. I have to admit that at first glance, I thought that HAWKS was just some cocky, entitled kid who was lucky enough to be born with a great quirk. I guess that's just how his public persona came off to me at first glance. However, the more we learned about HAWKS, the more I realized that my initial impression of him was completely off. In chapter 299 of the manga, we finally learned more about HAWKS' tragic backstory, and this is definitely a rough one. It turns out that HAWKS' father was a hitman for hire who was on the run from the law. He lived in squalor outside the city with HAWKS and HAWKS' mother, a woman by the name of Tomie. HAWKS' father was constantly paranoid that the police were going to find him and arrest him for murder, so he forbade HAWKS and his mother to leave the house. He was afraid that if they ever left the house, they could end up attracting attention and the police would come and get him. So, if HAWKS ever left the house, he would be brutally punished by his father. HAWKS' father was abusive towards his son and his wife, and he would straight up say to HAWKS that he never should have been born. On top of that, HAWKS' mother seems like she might have had some mental or developmental issues, and so she was never able to fully be there for HAWKS or to support him in any way. HAWKS' childhood was so rough that when he saw heroes on TV, he just assumed that they must be fictional. Clearly, they must have been part of some TV show or movie because stuff like that doesn't happen in real life, definitely not to him. In his own life, HAWKS suffered through poverty and abuse every single day, and no hero ever came to rescue him from his cruel life. But then, one day, HAWKS' father was caught by the police. Apparently, he tried to steal a car, but then he was stopped by Endeavor and sent to prison. It was in this moment that HAWKS realized that heroes were real. They were not just fictional characters on TV, they really did exist, and one of them, Endeavor, just rescued HAWKS from his father's abuse by throwing his father in jail. Because of this, HAWKS gained a true sense of appreciation for heroes, and especially for Endeavor. But this was not the end of HAWKS' troubled childhood. His mother was afraid that she would also be arrested for helping his father hide from the police for all those years. So instead of going to the police and telling them the truth, she took Hawks and they went into hiding yet again. But because Hawks' mother didn't really have any real world skills, Hawks and his mom ended up homeless and living on the street. Hawks' mom was frustrated by the situation and she asked Hawks why he has wings in the first place if he can't use them to make their lives better. His mother's words made an impact on Hawks and he decided to start using his quirk in a way that is useful to society. He started performing heroic deeds even as a kid. And after saving a bunch of people from a car accident, the young Hawks caught the attention of the Hero Public Safety Commission. The commission offered to keep Hawks and his mother safe and to take care of them financially if they agreed to abandon the Takami name and accept new identities. Soon after, the Public Safety Commission decided to train Hawks to become a special type of hero. So they separated him from his mother and subjected him to intense training for many years. Which explains why Hawks managed to accomplish so much at such a young age. He was forced to completely abandon his former life and dedicate his entire existence to special hero training. Hawks would eventually open his own hero agency when he was only 18 years old, and he reached the top 10 pro heroes list before he turned 20. And as we know, only a few years later, Hawks climbed all the way up to the number 2 spot in the pro hero rankings, right behind the hero whom he admires the most, Endeavor. But if you thought that Hawks' hardship ended when he was taken in by the Hero Public Safety Commission, if you thought that only his childhood was tragic and then it was all uphill from there, sadly, you would be mistaken. The Hero Public Safety Commission is not what it appears to be on the surface. And on multiple occasions, Hawks was forced to do things on behalf of the commission that he didn't necessarily want to do. He simply didn't have a choice in the matter. One such order was Hawks' mission to become a double agent and infiltrate the League of Villains. Hawks was forced to lead an extremely dangerous double life as a villain who was only pretending to be a hero. Even though in reality he was a hero who was only pretending to be a villain who was pretending to be a hero. Totally simple and not confusing at all. And not only did Hawks risk his life multiple times during his infiltration of the League of Villains, but he was eventually forced to kill someone whom he didn't want to kill. I am of course talking about Twice. Hawks believed that Twice was a good person at heart, and he tried desperately to convince Twice to do the right thing and stop being a villain. But after Twice refused to quit being a villain out of a sense of loyalty to his League of Villain comrades, Hawks was forced to kill Twice in order to prevent him from using Sadman's parade against the heroes and the wider hero society. Basically, Twice was considered too dangerous to be allowed to escape. So when Twice did try to escape from Hawks, Hawks had to follow his orders and end Twice's life. And not only was Hawks emotionally scarred by this confrontation with Twice, a man whom he considered his friend, but he also suffered severe burn injuries at the hands of Dabi during that same tragic showdown. So, although it's been clear for a while that there is something shady going on with the Hero Public Safety Commission, the true nature of their organization is not revealed until much later in the story when we meet Lady Nagant. Lady Nagant was taken in by the Public Safety Commission when she was just a child, much like Hawks, and she was lied to and brainwashed until she became the Commission's designated killing machine. From groups plotting alleged terrorist attacks, to hero groups who are believed to have been associated with villains, countless civilians of the Hero Society were secretly assassinated by the Public Safety Commission without ever being given a right to a fair trial. And while the most famous and beloved pro-heroes worked in the light and made the Hero Society look virtuous, state-sanctioned assassins like Lady Nagant were working in the shadows to keep any potential enemies of the Hero Society under control by any means necessary. Lady Nagant soaked her hands in blood over and over again while obeying orders from the Public Safety Commission. While pretending to be a wholesome hero in public, she was secretly being told to kill again and again. At one point, the chairman of the Hero Public Safety Commission ordered Lady Nagant to eliminate 2 pro-heroes who were allegedly provoking fellow civilians into committing crimes, so that they would then capture them as criminals and claim rewards. This is of course a serious accusation, but it is just an accusation, and yet, without presenting evidence against these two heroes during a fair trial, the chairman of the Public Safety Commission simply ordered an assassin to kill them because that was more convenient. When Lady Nagant pushed back against this order, she was threatened by the chairman, and that is when she finally snapped. She killed the chairman and went on to become a villain rather than a hero. And so when Lady Nagant learns that HAWKS is her successor within the Hero Public Safety Commission, she assumes that HAWKS must be just as demoralized and jaded as she is. Lady Nagant knows that as her successor, HAWKS must have been forced to do all sorts of horrible things by the Hero Public Safety Commission. And yet, she is shocked to see that HAWKS still has that heroic fire in his eyes. She doesn't understand how this is possible. How can HAWKS maintain a heroic spirit after all the darkness that he must have been through? How can he still want to be a hero after realizing that the people who were running the entire hero society were actually villains themselves? But HAWKS just smiles at Lady Nagant and says that at the end of the day, he is an optimist. On top of that, he had someone who supported him, which is a reference to Endeavor and the inspiration that HAWKS drew from Endeavor ever since he was still a child. This brief exchange between Lady Nagant and HAWKS, her successor, tells us everything we need to know about HAWKS as a person and as a hero. Despite his extremely tragic childhood, despite the fact that he was used by the Hero Public Safety Commission, and despite all the physical and emotional scars that he has suffered in the service of the Commission, HAWKS refuses to give up on his dream of being a true hero and saving innocent people. Just like Deku and Mirio, HAWKS is an idealist at heart, and he truly believes that heroes can change the world for the better. But at the same time, HAWKS has been through a lot, and his hands have definitely been stained with blood. HAWKS is not a fair-weather hero like those heroes who decided to retire after things got tough. And he is also not the kind of hero who naively thinks that he can save everyone. Don't get me wrong, HAWKS does his best to save as many people as possible, but he is also prepared to do what has to be done when saving the enemy is not an option, and that is exactly what we saw with Twice. HAWKS is truly an inspirational character when you think about everything that he's been through, and yet he still kept that heroic fire burning in his heart in spite of everything. Although his public persona may come off as cocky and a bit indifferent, we all know that on the inside, HAWKS is a true warrior, a true survivor, and a true hero. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more Boku no Hero videos right here on the channel, please leave that like to let me know. It only takes a second, but it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you watch our videos but you haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You really have to go through the trouble of subscribing, hitting the bell, and then selecting the option that says all. If you don't do that, you're still gonna miss a lot of our videos, even if you are subscribed. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. Thanks again to TappyTune for sponsoring this video. Check them out, link in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!